Ahoy toy, welcome to Transfixed, the channel that wicks moisture away from the surface. Today we're going to look at something a bit different because I have been thinking all about GoBots lately. And I'm not exactly sure why. I think it was because I started watching the old cartoon, Challenge of the GoBots. I feel bad for GoBots because I feel like they have this sort of underdog status, even though it came out around the same time as Transformers. I feel like it's got that reputation as the gift that you get from a relative. Because it was cheaper maybe. Oh, little Jimmy likes those transforming robots. I'll get him this GoBot. It's $5. Next to the $25 Transformer toy. I could see why that would be appealing. Now, usually we talk about Transformers on this channel because they've endured better, and that's what I'm into, but I don't know. I've just been in this GoBots kick lately. Also, it happened to sync up nicely with the timing of one of my favorite podcasts I listen to called The Full Force Podcast. They did a GoBots episode just about the same time I was having these GoBotic cravings. So that kind of reinforced my enthusiasm. So what I had to do is I had to go out and get some because I had a bunch of GoBots as a kid. I had Sidekill. I didn't have Leader 1. I didn't have Turbo. I had Tank, Dive, a bunch of other ones. But I don't remember really playing with them all that much. And I saw the cartoon, but I didn't really watch it often. But I find, as an adult, I've got a much better appreciation for these guys. So I just had a craving, and also you'll see in the back there's one of the new Machine Robo toys, which was the Japanese name for GoBots. And this is the new line, of course, from Action Toys. And I had to go get one of those too because I've been watching them come out, release by release, and always on the cusp of ordering one, but I never did. So I went ahead and took the plunge. I also got these 4 GoBots from a local shop called Toy Traders in Langley, BC. I'm really lucky enough to live near there because it is an amazing place. And upstairs they've got vintage toys. So I went and grabbed a few. I got a really nice Smallfoot. I got Flip Top. And then for the Renegades, I got Twin Spin. I keep wanting to say Twin Twist, but that's a Transformer. And Spoons, which is a great name. We'll get into all this stuff later, but yeah, the GoBots had some crazy names. So I wanted to show these off just because I'm having a good time with them. I've also ordered a few things on eBay, so I may add to this video later because I've got a... because I ordered the worst character. I got Scooter and I also ordered the Action Toy Sidekill, Bike Robo. Now, we're going to look at the toys first, and then later we'll talk about the cartoon. And do stick with me because I know you guys have short attention spans. I look at the analytics, 2-minute average watch time. Come on. But there's some funny stuff in the cartoon, so stick with me for that. That's closer to the end. First of all, let's talk about the old GoBots. They're a lot better than you might think. They're smaller. They're all smaller except for like the Super GoBots and some weird other ones that Tonka came out with. But they have a lot of die-cast metal. This piece here is metal. This whole body of a Flip Top here is metal, and as you can see, he's got metal legs, metal arms. This is just chromed plastic for the head, but it's a really solid toy. I mean, these joints got loose over time. So let me transform him back. It's also broken. It should have 4 rotor blades. It only has 2 on my example here, but that's okay. So yeah, he turns into this Navy helicopter, which I don't know... I'm guessing this might be like a Sikorsky Sea King. I'm not really sure. But I had this as a child. My version was a light blue, though, for some reason. And this one I got, this sticker was upside down for some reason. So I peeled it off and turned it around. I think it looks okay. And it looks like he's got some bombs attached here. You know what? Let me move this out of the way because that's getting distracting. Yeah, so this is Flip Top. And I was kind of wondering, why is he called Flip Top? And then, of course, once I transformed him, it made sense. So these separate and slide down. You can kind of see how the mechanism works on the leg there. And then these flip out. And then the arms, you pull them forward a little bit. At the same, well, I actually don't have to. When you transform him back, you have to sort of collapse this back down. But pull the arms out, down on these nice metal shoulders. And then the Flip Top name comes from his transformation, where the rotor blade spins around and his head is on the other side. And that's brilliant. I don't believe I've seen that on a Transformer. It's also pretty articulated. This is a ball joint here, and you can rotate it around, so you can get him to stand up pretty well. Even with these loose feet, you can move the legs enough so that it stands well enough. Well, of course I say that, but now I can't make him do it. I suppose if I go like that, make him kind of towed in, that works. But most of the time, I just have him sitting somewhere where I'm not going to disturb the surface, and he's fine to stand on his own, even after all this time. Great looking robot. I hope they do this one in the Action Toys release. I would love to see a new flip top with all 4 rotor blades. Does this come out? Oh, this actually comes out. I forgot. And you could use this as a weapon. No, you can't. Coptor can do that. If you watch the Challenge of the GoBots cartoon, they all do the same thing. They don't have weapons. They all shoot energy blasts from their fists. And I kind of like the simplicity of that. I didn't like it at the time. I guess, you know, because Transformers had rifles and stuff, but I don't know. I think it's cool. And they could all fly when in robot mode. The other cool thing about the TV show is that they transform just like the toys. There's no cheating like there is in Transformers, where they just sort of quickly morph into their alt modes and back. Like you'll see, you'll see often the main 3 characters for the Renegades were Psykill, Coptor, and Crasher. And on the good guys, it was Leader 1, Turbo, and Scooter. And Turbo and Crasher, being cars, they always did the same thing, where they would just slowly flip around, collapse the legs, and they would even spin around and then go like down like that to drive away.
Get it!
They would never turn around before they transformed. They had to do it. They had to do this little spin. It was, I don't know, I found it funny. This character is Smallfoot, which is a clever name because it's kind of like Bigfoot, right? Which is a monster truck. This is just a small pickup truck with large wheels on it. They call it Smallfoot. I thought that was cute. And this one actually has a detachable piece. I'm lucky that it's here. You have to pull this off of the front grille. There are some missing pieces. There should be a rail here and a rail here, but like a roll cage type of thing. But they don't really matter. And then as you flip this down, you'll see there's a part there that makes it move outwards, which you do see on some Transformers. So really nice looking feet and legs. And then a lot of the cars and trucks in the GoBots line did the same little pop-out arms. So this is a very common piece of transformation. But it's simple, you know, you can do it quickly. You can change it back and forth. And the head actually pulls up and has a nice face sculpt. And this was a female character in the GoBots.
I'm getting out of here!
That's what you think.
Another thing they did well in the show was they had a lot more female characters. In Transformers, they deliberately avoided that at the beginning. Sorry, and by the way, this grill then plugs into the chest. Is this why it's a female character? These headlights, gee... I don't want to get into that. Let's just give them the benefit of the doubt that... I don't know. Well, the toy I would say is male, but anyway. This is exactly how it's drawn on the cartoon, with these 3 different colored triangles, the face, and Smallfoot is a girl. And that's kind of cool. I mean, it's a little... not a monster truck, but a little off-road truck with 4-wheel drive sticker there and everything, and they made it a girl. So, cool, good for them. This is all metal, legs are metal, a solid little toy, and after all these years, it's even got stickers for the headlights, and stickers on the side here, and the sticker here. I think it's pretty well decorated, and some paint. And they're tiny. I mean, you saw this in vehicle mode. This is about the size of a Matchbox, or Hot Wheels car, and yet you can still transform it. Just like a G1. In fact, some of these look even more normal. Like this is more of a humanoid than Wheeljack, for example. So you got to give it to them. Let's do Spoons next. See, I love these names because, of course, it's a forklift with forks, and they name him Spoons. Amazing. There's another version of this that has like a tan top. Some of the European and Japanese releases had different colors on them. This one I had as a child. You can see how it transforms here. It's got a little sliding thingy to pull his head out here. I think on the cartoon he has a green visor. Kind of a very robotic face there. Now, where the cartoon was accurate with the transformations and the models looked very similar. It wasn't like Transformers, like where they just took a lot of liberties. They would draw them a lot like what the toy looked like. But where that was very accurate in the visuals, the faces were very different. They oftentimes just invented their own face. And this has a little seat and everything. Seat back there. Oh, I haven't finished transforming it yet. This slides and it slides down. Locks into place. And it sounds like I need to check on my daughter. And it's a working forklift. Come on. These are all rubber tires, by the way, just like on Smallfoot, rubber tires. Okay, I've got to check on my daughter. Excuse me. Had a bad dream. Okay, so that's Spoons. Yeah, nice example of the toy too. It's too bad that it had a nice paint job, but there was a price tag on it. When I peeled the price tag off, it took a lot of the paint with it, which is very unfortunate, but nothing I can do. Anyway, I'm happy to have this guy back in my collection after all these years. I don't know what happened to my childhood GoBots, but I guess they're long gone now. Thanks, Mom. So the last one I have from this batch, anyway, is a twin spin. It takes so much effort to say that. Now, I believe this rotor is detachable. Okay, I haven't had the guts to do it until just now, but yes, that comes off. He's supposed to have two, obviously. This is like a Chinook helicopter. He only came with the one rotor blade, but it doesn't bother me so much because in robot mode you can't tell he's missing one. So let's put that back on for now. And pretty cool. These are angled for some reason. It's got landing gear. So the way this one transforms is you pull these legs down and they can be spread apart. These are on a hinge. And then this tail part flips around and makes his feet. And then this part is really cool. The sides open up into his arms. Again, you can see the die cast joints in there, which has helped him survive all these years. So wiggle those out, and then this landing gear folds up, and then this comes down to reveal his head. So this tucks nicely in the back there. His head comes out of here. He's got to rotate his arms down, and I think this looks really pretty good. He's got his helicopter canopy as a chest. He's got solid feet there, nice little arms. Pretty cool little toy, right? And you can take this out. Let me carefully do that. And there's a hole on the back of each arm. So the idea is you put each rotor on an arm, I think. That's how he's pictured when I see him online. Anyway, so you could do that. But since I only have the one, I may as well just leave it on his back. I want to be really careful I don't break this. I'm really looking for a cop tour, but he's a bit hard to find with at a decent price because Cop Tour came with two rotors. His main one, which is detachable and losable, and he also has a little tail rotor that's like a wheel that just fits in between his legs, which is often missing. So it's if you want to get Cop Tour with his blades, you're going to be spending more money than I expected. I was surprised looking on eBay that the secondary market was what it was for GoBots. This is a bit loose here. But the store I went to, most of them were $10. They were $10 to $13. This guy was $13, I think, just a bit more. Which is Canadian prices. That'd probably be about, $7 or $8 for each of these US. Now, the other thing that's odd about GoBots is they didn't have any faction symbols like Transformers did. I haven't transformed these in the same order. But so we have the Guardians, which are obviously the good guys, and the Renegades, the bad guys. So flip top here is a Guardian, Renegade, Guardian, and Renegade. I thought Spoons would be, being just a forklift, which is a useful tool, I thought he'd be a Guardian, but he is a Renegade. See, I didn't even know that when I was a kid. I knew Psykill and Cop 2 were bad guys, but that's about it. I didn't know who anybody else was. I guess there was no file cards in the back or anything like that. You pretty much had to watch the cartoon if you want to know who was who and what was going on. Now, this video is running a bit longer than I intended, so I'm going to wrap it up pretty soon after I show you Scooter and talk about the cartoon, and then I'm going to make a part 2, and I will tell you why. But first, let's take a look at Scooter. So he did show up in my delivery, and yeah, here he is. Now, in the cartoon, they always showed him like this, but this is the correct transformation. And he actually doesn't have a rear wheel. He's got these two little rollers in this, and this keeps falling down. That's how it's supposed to be. One of the reasons I wanted to get Scooter was, one, because he was featured so much on the show. He was like really one of the main characters, probably more than Leader 1. The other reason I wanted to get him was to find out about his transformation, because I could kind of figure it out by looking at the toy, but it was weird because the show confused me. Like, the toy looked like his face was down at the bottom by the wheel, and that's how it was in robot mode. And then his chest would be the front of the scooter that would flip down. I couldn't figure out how his face got up to the top near the handlebars. And that's because they lied to us. He doesn't transform that way. So, as authentic as they are with all the other transformations, With Scooter, they cheated, and they put his face where it's not supposed to be. And by the way, I wanted to show what I'm talking about with his face between the handlebars. And I'm showing these weird images because that's all I could find when I did the image search. Even though in the show, he did it all the time.
We made it! That's right! We're home free! Help! A rock crusher!
So as I mentioned, they did lie to us in the cartoon. He is supposed to transform by having these come down and this collapse, and his arms swing out to the sides. This folds down to make his chest, and his head is there, of course. His face is not there. It can't get there. It's a fiction. It's lies. But there is Scooter. And yeah, I'm happy to have this little dork in my collection. Ooh, Scooter gone wild. Yeah, in the cartoon, like, they even drew this stuff. It's pretty good. And a couple of final things. I wanted to talk about the cartoon because I've been watching it, and yes, it is for kids, but it's got some interesting things going for it. One of them being the human characters. So there's 3 human characters. There's Matt, there's AJ, and this other little kid. And they are, I don't know, they get kind of wrapped up in it. Matt is a NASA pilot, and this guy is a total badass. Matt Hunter does not take any guff from anybody. He takes no crap. He is not intimidated by the renegade GoBots. And in fact, at the end of the first few episodes, he kind of tells NASA just to screw off, and he goes off for the GoBots and loses his job, I suppose. But he's gallivanting with GoBots. He also goes to Gobotron, and he's captured, and he's made to fight in these gladiator fights against these aliens, and he wins. He keeps beating up all the aliens. This guy, it's like Thor Ragnarok. He just takes them down. Yeah, this guy, he always looks angry, and he's always just, not taking any crap. And I gotta give it credit. That's pretty cool. We didn't see that in Transformers. Another interesting fact is that some of the voices were good. I mean, they had Frank Welker on there to do some of the smaller voices. They had Dr. Braxis. So there are several scientists and doctors you had to keep track of in the show. But Dr. Braxis was voiced by Renee Auberjonois.
Oh, that's not so impressive. Well, you didn't think of it. Well, I could have. Quiet.
Who you might remember from Benson. You might remember him from Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country. And you probably remember him as Odo from Deep Space Nine. So he was the voice of Dr. Braxis. I guess they like taking things from Star Trek, because I think they also borrowed some of the music.
We're saved!
Shut up, you moron!
And there was also this really hot Russian scientist that joined up with them too. Dr. Anya Turganova. This was back during the Cold War when they were trying to, have us be sympathetic to the Russians, I guess. But, well, it worked. I mean, that girl's a fox.
I'm ready to start energy transfusion.
Is that possible?
Is always possible. Here it goes!
So another thing that was interesting was the GoBots are not entirely robotic. They actually have organic brains, which is weird. I think it was in the original comic book that this story was. Where they give you the backstory, how they were something went wrong. They somehow converted themselves into cyborgs, but part of that survived in the cartoon. You can see it here.
GoBots, even renegades like Psykill, are not pure machines, but have living brains. If you doubt me, scan them, and us, on the D-alpha frequency.
Scanners indicate organic composition.
Organic brains. Really weird, right? I wouldn't have expected that. I didn't remember that at all. There you have it. And I also want to talk about Psykill, because Psykill is so cool. Just a badass. But I got my Machine Robo, Bike Robo in the mail. So what I'm going to do is do another video just about Psykill. Because Psykill is great. He's the reason I keep watching this show. The reason I'm doing a whole video about him is because these Machine Robo action toys are based on the toys, and I think also the Japanese anime for Machine Robo. So that's why, like, this is not Psykill's face, right? This is Bike Robo's face, and he looks like a child, and I just can't get past that. I don't like it. So I'm going to customize his face. We'll see how that turns out in the next video. So hope you'll come back and watch that. And as always, thanks for watching. The GoBots, the GoBots, the GoBots, GoBots, GoBots. Da, 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 da. GoBots.